Hello everybody, welcome back to Bits and Bobs. It is your host Nicole Kidman and I've ditched the urban legend and I'm ready to play for the other team. Wow, it's been a little while, hasn't it? I do really wish I would find the consistency that I so desperately need in life, but we're here now, aren't we? And that is something. So, let's celebrate that. How is everybody? How's the kids? How's the parents? How's the wife? How's the husband? Good, glad to hear it. Pretty uneventful for me. So I've got lots and lots of TV stuff to talk about. Obviously, there's been various world events that are genuinely just quite apocalyptic. So let's focus less on that news. If anyone's genuinely curious how I feel about any of that, it's pretty evident. You do not have to look very far. So let's lift our spirits and talk about world news and conflict that is a little less serious, but a little more fun. So Cardi and Nicki are back at it again. I'm just going to say, I do miss public beefing. I do miss just kind of like people airing each other out. We've become a very kind world. We've become, a very nice world in some regards. And, we don't necessarily speak directly to our adversaries anymore. And so I really commend these ladies for bringing back that art form. Means a lot to me personally. But yeah, it's always Nicki. It is always Nicki. She's always starting it. She's always got something to say. The worst bit about all of this is that it's on her son's birthday. It was her son's birthday. The funniest thing about it is that I guess the reason most of, kind of everybody paying attention found out that it was her son's birthday is because of Cardi. So that was delightful. Yeah, she's not well, is she? She's not a well woman. Just like sending 8 tweets a minute, just, while her son is actively having his day of birth. So, she is fully down the rabbit hole. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good at all. I do hope she sees the light one day. She's clearly fighting several demons and I do wish her well, but, she does bring this on herself. So it is what it is, but she really did go low. She was saying all sorts, and Cardi did not take the high road, which, I can't say I don't enjoy. It's nice to have some kind of meaningless drama to focus on when there's some, very real kind of drama, which is putting it lightly, that has very real world consequences going on around us. So this is a really lovely bit of light relief. But I think something that really summed all of this up was the fact that like Cardi at one point tweeted, bear in mind, I'm like baking ribs and brownies and this bitch is trying to come at me on a Monday. So yeah, it did kind of just come out of nowhere, but that does happen when you are chasing the dragon. So, blessings and peace to both of them. I wish them both well, truly. And thank you. Thank you for your service. Moving on to something equally as befuddling and important. What is lemonade and why is everybody trying to add me on it? It sounds like a slur. Like, say it fast, lemonade. You're a lemonade. Like, it just sounds like a slur. How much content can one person consume? We have enough social media platforms. Why do we need more platforms? I am so done. It's enough. It's enough. We don't need any more. What is this for? I literally, what is it for? What is it going to do that is different to every other platform that we have out there at this current time? TikTok came about because Vine died. They may not say that's why it came about, but I think that replaced that whole of kind of short form content. Obviously, the content on TikTok has now evolved. It's a little longer, designed to keep our attentions for a lot longer, but still by and large a short form content platform. YouTube is now the place of long form content. I mean, it kind of always was technically, but Facebook is for the worst kind of content on earth, mainly AI and just false information. So, everything has its place as a platform for everything. I don't understand why we need a separate platform for lifestyle shite. Please, please keep it away from me. It does not sound like anything I'm interested in. I do not want another place to put time and energy into. I am already suffering enough. Look at me. Look at what I'm doing. I think I've had enough, don't you? I think we all have. I think it's time to put the phones down. Not unless you're listening and looking at me, though. That's it's time to pick them up, But yeah, how is there another platform? Enough, please. It's enough. While I've had enough of the internet, I will never have enough of film. I finally saw Weapons. Oh my God. It took me far too long to see it in the theaters, but what a whirlwind. That was brilliant. Really was one of the best theater experiences I've had in a long, long while. I kind of wish there was more people in my viewing, but again, it's been a while since it's been out, so I get it. But the jump scares got me. They really got me. Like I was watching it through, like I was trying to do anything to avoid looking at the screen, yet I could not look away. But yeah, it managed to be really funny, really scary, really heart-wrenching. It had everything. It really did have everything. What a wonderful, wonderful piece of cinema. Great pacing. There was never a moment where I was bored. It didn't get bogged down with too many details. The writing is fantastic. You got enough of what you needed to understand where we were going, kept the pacing really quick without feeling like we were missing things. Performances were fantastic. I mean, Julia Garner and who is it? Amy Madigan in particular. So the person, I can't remember who I can't remember Julia's character, but Amy Madigan plays Gladys. Wow. Like what a sight to behold, first and foremost. But yeah, just had me hooting and hollering in both fear and also general merriment. Truly funny and terrifying. Yeah. And what a great concept. What a great concept. It's, it's not very inventive. It's not something we haven't seen before, but it really did feel fresh. Yeah, and spoilers, it was such a satisfying conclusion. Not the full conclusion, I mean Gladys's conclusion. That was hilarious. Watching her run through the town screaming, the kids like running full force through windows, not stopping. Like a truly terrifying sight. I don't think I'd ever be the same if I saw that. And, the townsfolk just being like, oh, look what they did to the lawn, honey. Crazy. It's so funny. Yeah, I cannot wait for the sequel. Cannot wait. That was excellent. Excellent. Yeah, speaking of filmmaking, I've been thinking about this a lot. I really have. I've been thinking about this a lot. I love it. I love documentaries, as I'm sure many of us do. I will put a lot of time into a good docuseries. I do feel that the Netflix documentary / docuseries is ruining the art form of documentary filmmaking. I do. It is something that is worrying to me. Because I'm not saying what Netflix produces is bad. Absolutely not. It's very entertaining. But at what point is it going to stop being talking head docuseries? I love true crime as much as the next person, but we are reaching a point where it is just talking head docuseries or films where they're just relaying the story of some heinous crime that's taken place. That format does work well. It does. Like it's there's a reason it's successful, obviously. But that's exactly it. It works well for telling a story. It's not necessarily working well for uncovering a story. Where are like I want to see Icarus again. I want to see something as bold as Icarus again. I want to see true kind of uncovering. I want to see investigative journalism have a comeback. I want to see Panorama on a Netflix scale. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to see Tickled. I want to see Free Solo. See, this isn't even necessarily, uncovering anything, but it's a depiction of someone's life and an attempt to just do something that's never been done and capture it on film for the first time. It's not telling a story that's already been told, that's already happened. It's discovering something new. Paris is Burning, again, not one where we're uncovering something, or there's a mystery to be solved, although I can't remember the queen's name, but I want to say it's Dorian or Corey. Dorian Corey, something like that, had a body in the freezer while they were doing that. So that was crazy. But that wasn't found out as they were filming that documentary, obviously. But something, where that's still, it's showing us a world that we otherwise wouldn't have known about. There's actually a pretty good example of a talking head, not all talking head, but primarily talking head docu-series where they did actually uncover something. I cannot remember it, but it was where they got that guy confessing to the murder on camera, on mic. Like, let's bring back the investigative journalism element of documentary filmmaking. Like, I just want to discover something. I want to feel like I've cracked the case. Not that the case has been cracked. I want to crack it. I want to be part of cracking it. Like, honestly, these days, I do feel like you can find like better documentaries on YouTube from like creators just kind of doing it themselves than you kind of can from like big studio produced content like on Netflix. It's because there's a lot of these people on Netflix just going to, Amish communities and living with them and finding out what it's like, things like that. And there's definitely an element of bias in some of that. But God, what I wouldn't give to see like Icarus again or Tickled again for the first time, because it just, when you've got a good one, nothing compares. Like, as exciting as watching like Apple Cider Vinegar or Gabby, well, I actually haven't watched that yet, so maybe won't use that excuse. I mean, even like as fun as watching Gabby Petito's, well, fun is the wrong word, but as exciting as it was watching the Gabby Petito docuseries, again, it didn't tell us anything. We already knew the story. It was just produced on a bigger scale with a bigger budget. So I want something fresh and new. I want to feel like I'm discovering something again. Please, someone make a real documentary. I'm dying. Not to be dramatic or anything, but yeah. Speaking of something new, TLC, Ever the Gift That Keeps on Giving, is bringing out a new series. I think it's called Seeking Sister Wife, which already fantastic, as you can tell by the title. I don't know where I saw like the trailer for it. I can't remember now, but I saw the trailer and immediately was just like, oh, this is a lavender marriage. Like, the guy is, how do I say this? The guy is clearly, the guy is screaming gay. Like, he's giving all the typical tells of somebody that may be interested in men who is also a man. Now, of course, I could be wrong about this, but being that I am something of a homosexual myself, I see some signs, call me crazy. I see some signs, and I think you will too if you watch the trailer. And the wife is also giving a little, playing for a softball league, a golf tournament. She is also giving gay. I think, yeah, so hearing their voices for the first time, his is quite high, hers is quite low. And I thought, oh, that's fun. They really complement each other in that way. They met in show choir. Yep. Where all heterosexual couples typically meet. Yeah, and just to further that really typical heterosexual love story, um, he was the star, as he self-proclaims, and she was crew, helping with the set and costume design. Yes, so yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're clearly like in some lavender marriage. It's so funny. And more power to you. I love a lavender marriage. I'd consider one myself, honestly. I think do what makes you happy. But yeah, definitely kind of giving, maybe went to some sort of conversion therapy and they're now ex-gays who found each other sort of situation. Um, to further this story, they now kind of live a farmstead life, homesteading, kind of self sufficient, like cosplaying conservative type lifestyle of the middle Americas. And they conceived through IVF. So, to be clear, their child was conceived in a way that meant they did not have to consummate the marriage in a uh, method that would be typically befitting of a heterosexual couple. Um, so no one can tell me that they've consummated anything, okay? And yes, so they are both looking, they are seeking another woman, they are seeking a wife. I have a feeling that the wife would be far more interested in another wife being part of this marriage. Um, but what's quite disturbing is they essentially want the wife to basically foster children for them. They want the wife to breed her so that they can conceive naturally. Uh, because IVF is quite expensive, absolutely. I'm very much on their side. But yeah, so they essentially want a handmaid to just kind of help out with the housework and make babies. Uh, yeah. So very strange. I'm very intrigued. And if I do remember or find the time, I will very much hopefully get a little sneak peek of that because that seems like an absolutely fantastic situation. Yeah, in a similar vein to that, kind of similar themes going on. I watched another show over like within the last month. I actually finished it quite a while ago. Hunting Wives, kind of similar themes there between Sister Wives and the Seeking Sister Wife and Hunting Wives. But yeah, it was a quick little watch, kind of came out of nowhere. It was really fantastic. It was really something. Brittany Snow back on screens again. Always happy for that. It was like a gay, like a lesbian, like Desperate Housewives, but Southern. It was so, it was very funny, very not safe for work. But yeah, really, really interesting. And I hope it gets picked up for a second. I mean, I assume it already has because the reception's been quite good. But yeah, what a wonderful little show. Cannot wait to see more. I did try with maths this year. I look, if it's not Love is Blind, I don't want it. I just, when there is a dating show, I like, if it's like like if you are called Married at First Sight, this should be a show intent on creating lasting happiness, I believe. It's not, Love Island, you're not really expecting couples to like be together forever, are you? It's very, does what it says on the tin there. But Married at First Sight, it has all the kind of pretenses of a show that is there to create long and lasting bonds. But it has, this is my problem with it, it has no interest in doing that. It is just purely for drama. Like it's purely to see conflict, to put people together who will never have a chance of making it and force them to try, essentially. I mean, no one's being forced. You signed up to the show. I'm assuming you can leave whenever you want. At least I hope you can. But yeah, this year, more than any, I think that's really apparent. Like, they've put couples together who like just genuinely hate each other. And I just can't be asked to watch that. It's just not fun. But I think I watched up to like episode 6 or something, and I just can't do anymore. I can't do anymore. There is just some people in there that are absolutely like boiling my blood, boiling my blood. Lee has a massive attitude problem. I understand that it's edited. I understand that, you know, we're getting a small glimpse into what's actually happening. I do understand that. But people say what they say, they do what they do. They have body language and convey feelings in the way that you can't not they can't fake what they're showing you on camera. You actually did said and were those things in those moments. So it's not like it's false in that sense. So I don't like when people are blaming the edit, because you did and said all of those things and were acting in the way that you were portrayed. It might be less frequent than it's portrayed, but you still did those things. So I think Lee has kind of come back. I've saw like a couple of TikToks which like, it wasn't that bad, I swear, blah, 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 blah. We had, you know, we actually had a laugh and this and that. Maybe you did, but clearly Leah, bless her, was having a rough time. Like when they clearly forced her to apologize, like the producers forced Lee to apologize, let's be honest. That didn't just happen naturally. Leah was like almost in tears. And again, she's not faking that. Again, these aren't like, this isn't Meryl Streep. This is just like people. So I don't think she would have been that emotional hadn't there been a reason for her to be that way. Like, you treated her horribly. She's treated her horribly. And the thing that I can't get over, right, is that Lee, like, she kind of got what she described. From what she's saying, and I remember I'm in the community. I'm in the lifestyle, okay? Like, I know what she's talking about. But she did say that she was looking for someone who was more masculine but still was girl, like looked like a girl, was still girly. You can tell that the girl still has a feminine side, you know, all of this and that. She describes someone like Leah. Yes, I think that Leah does present, and it is, I can't remember if her name's actually Leah, but let's continue to call her Leah. She does present a little bit more feminine, but is clearly quite masculine in her personality and even in her style. It's not the most feminine. What Lee wanted was a mask. She kept using the word STEM, which, by the way, and this is something kind of that I picked up on because the way she talked to Leah about it. Like when she was asking Leah, like, how do you identify, how do you present, like, e mask, femme, STEM, that sort of thing. And Leah didn't really, she's like, I'm just myself sort of thing. Lee took that as like a sign that she didn't know what was going on. And, oh, see, this is further proof that she's not what I need. Like the way she reacted to that was insane. But I don't know why Lee's acting like such an authority on things, because she's using STEM. And if we want to get technical about it, STEM, stud, femme, is typically used by and for women of colour, specifically black women. So I'm really confused as to why she's using it. And I've seen a TikTok of her ex. Wouldn't necessarily say that fits the description of what she's talking about in regards to the race of her previous partner. But also, what she's looking for is a mask girl. Like, she's looking for someone mask. She's not really... What Lee means by feminine is someone who hasn't cut the hair off yet. That's what she means. She means someone with a top knot who won't commit to the full crop, because then, to Lee, I think that's like too masculine, which is fine. That's a preference and that is her choice. But she has really not conveyed that. And they've done at least a somewhat decent job of giving her what she asked for. And she's acting like, ugh. But also... fine, she's not attracted to her. Why are they still here? This is what I can't deal with. I don't get why they really try if there's just no chemistry. like, it just makes me die a bit. Like, you know if it's going to work or not. You know, there's giving it a try and there's like just beating a dead horse. And I think that's what happens on maths is they're encouraged to beat the dead horse, and I can't deal with it. Another one that really, like, I really couldn't deal with was Dean and Sarah. Ugh, God. To be clear, I don't really like Sarah. I don't particularly enjoy her. I think she's absolutely, it's not that she has to be attracted to Dean, but the way she acts, the faces she pulls, it's not very becoming. Um, Having said that, Dean is attractive. That's not the issue. The issue is his personality. He is unbearable. He is like a more evil James Corden. The singing, the rapping, the joking, the way he talks. Like, yeah, so I've really tried to work on myself. Actually, I'm actually quite a generous person, and I really do. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. It's just so weird. He's so strange. He's so full of himself. He's like the nice guy final boss. Like oh my God, it makes my skin crawl. The crazy thing is, if he just listened to what his partners, aka what the women in his life actually wanted, instead of assuming what they wanted, then he'd be fine. But he just assumes that he's like, oh, I'm going to treat her the way she should be treated. And he's thinking that, I guess, women need to be serenaded with a terrible vocal. Let's be honest. Sorry. Let's just call a spade a spade. It was terrible. You can't sing. Neither can you rap. You can do neither of these things well. So it's not like we're even getting like top-notch performance quality. It's like subpar, and it's awkward and it's cringe, and I want to die when he is on the screen. So I like really cannot physically watch that show anymore. There was a couple couples where I was like, okay, wish you the best, but yeah, overall it's not worth it. I'll see how they get on, but it's very rare that people make it from that show, and I'm not. Oh my God, I keep knocking the mic. Jesus, there we go. I'm not interested. I'm just not interested in this like faux validity of, oh yeah, we've got experts, we've got this, we've got that. No, you haven't. Experts for what? From who? From where? It's just, yeah, no. A big no from me. Big Brother has started. I am watching it. Probably talk about it next episode. Definitely talk about it next episode. But more importantly, I have caught up with Jersey Shore. I have. I've caught up with everything bar the reunions. Because Paramount Plus, yet again, behind. Couldn't care less about the people that are actually paying for their subscription. Why are they so behind? It does my head in. But yeah, but I must say, like, reunions, if you're a reality TV watcher, you know that reunions are like the best episodes. You wait all season for them. And OG Jersey Shore, they used to have sick reunions. Everything used to pop off there. But the reunions for Family Vacation, they are just, I hate watching them. Nothing really happens. People are barely there. It's highly produced. There's no real kind of conflict resolution going on. It's just kind of a basic kind of a recapping, some silly questions, and maybe they'll get like a slight bit of, they'll try and resolve a little something. But they're just not good, are they? So I'm not too fussed about them. But I think this is like probably like episode 8 to 16, something like that. But the point is, it's kind of like where they start. It's like from when they're going to Jamaica. So that's what I'll kind of talk about. It is nice to see him get out the country, isn't it? It's nice to see him get away. It really is. So glad Mike's got his passport back. Kind of a big focal point of that vacation is, for some reason, Angelina. I say this a lot, but I don't know how Mike and Lauren are like registered therapists, right? Or how they have a trauma center. I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for them to be like saying, yeah, we're, trauma certified therapist, or I can't remember what exactly the modality was of their certifications, but they're going about saying a therapist, they're opening a treatment center, which, you know, props to them. They're doing a good thing, or they're trying to do a good thing. Props to them. Props to Mike. You know, addiction's not easy, right? But the way they behave is actually like, it is not becoming of a therapist. It's quite inappropriate. I don't understand what their obsession with Angelina is. Like, they come into that vacation. Angelina's doing pretty well, all things considered. Like, her dog's just died, her and Vinny are done. And Mike's like goading her into something, like, from the jump, like the day they get there. He's trying to talk about how somebody said something at the barbershop and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's like he was trying to catch her in a lie, trying to be like, so does Vinny live with you or not? Like, first of all, what happened to hi? How are you? How was your day? You know, like, why are you jumping into this immediately, if at all? Because it doesn't need to really get aired. If not, just to try and make her look like a mess. Leave her alone. Her dog's just died. She's going through shit. Mr. Therapist, I thought, you know, leave it. Just have a normal conversation with her. Have fun. Everyone have fun. Like, I would get it if it was like a concern thing, but it's not ever coming across, at least. So I do not believe it's coming from a place of concern. I believe it's from a place of judgment. It's just like, oh God, how does she live like this? How is she so messy? How are you two living like this? How do you live with yourselves? Like, stop it. But I feel doing that, like, right from the jump did actually set her off a little bit. And that's why she's, you know, she starts getting into it with 2.0 in her room and doesn't come out. Yeah, it just bugs me. It bugs me. And I'm not saying she's it. Look, you know, we all know Angie's a big issue. Like, she has big issues. But there's the necessary stuff and there's unnecessary stuff, and I just feel like that was completely unnecessary to do and bring up and talk about with her. So look, yeah, she comes into that fake anniversary dinner a bit hot, going a bit, she comes, look, it's not, I cannot defend how she comes in, because she does come in, she's like, all right, so who's had butt stuff, who's like, she's doing a lot. Okay, I get that. But you can just kind of be like, and I think she even does say that, just be like, oh, okay, enough. No. Too much. There's a way to go about just being like, hey, whoa, you know, to de-escalate that. But yet again, the way it is handled by Mike and Lauren is insane to me. I hope that other people are seeing it. I hope that people get this. And I do think producers in the show do a good job of kind of showing the hypocrisy in specifically Mike and Lauren's behavior. But yeah, I get that her questions were a little inappropriate and no one is under any, you know, legal requirement to answer. Not Lauren, not Mike, not anyone there. But everyone was kind of talking, everyone was answering. Lauren didn't want to answer, that's fine. Just say, oh no. But she starts to be like, you know, that's not really appropriate for me and my husband. We have 3 children. I'm a mother. Okay. And that is fine, right? If that is the reason for your kind of morality clause here, that's fine. But it's very hypocritical considering the type of stuff you ask Ange. And you can just say no without making it a big thing like that, without bringing it to that level. But no, it has to be with an air of arrogance and I'm better than this and I'm above this and you are beneath me. And also, let's like not act that Mike is like the patron saint of piety, Lauren. We all watched him whore himself out on television for a number of years, okay? Like, we've all done stuff. Everyone has a past. It's fine. It's just, oh, the hypocrisy of it and the way she talks down to her makes me sick. They've asked Ange similar questions. So there is clearly a double standard, and it was fine for them to ask. It was absolutely fine for them to ask, but it's never okay when Ange gives it back. And there was no malicious intent in it. You can tell that. You'd have to be an idiot to, you know, not see that. So I really don't appreciate the high horse that these guys ride in on all the time. And the crazy thing is, I could tell that Mike was going to answer. That's the funniest thing about it, is Mike was clearly going to answer. He was like, yeah, no, yeah, I'm a husband and we have children. So, it just does my head in so much. And the mother thing also implies that because Ange isn't, she's like somehow worthless. And I wouldn't necessarily think that by other people saying that. It's the way Lauren says these things. I'm just like, I know what you mean. And then they're sitting there in the morning, just like first thing in the morning, going over the details, just laughing at her and laughing about it. I find that quite evil. Like, you are not concerned about her. You do not care about her. And also, this was such a nothing thing that you both made such a huge deal out of, which then quite rightly makes Ange feel self-conscious and being like, oh, I don't really want to be around people today. And she takes herself out of the situation, which I do believe is actually fine, because it's better than her coming in and, being all riled up as she does. However, I can't not laugh. Angelina is hilarious, and she's doing immediately after this. She does that thing where she's like riling herself up in her room. She's always like by herself, like talking to herself, like making it bigger and worse in her head. And there's this moment where she's like lying flat on the bed, like at such a funny angle. I'll try and put a picture in, but she's lying flat on the bed looking crazy. And she just kind of like looks at the camera. She's like, I think I'm going to snap soon. Like she's such a fascinating person. And then she's like in the self-confessional room where she's just casually like moisturizing herself and being like, people want the shark, they're gonna get it. Like, she's just she's so physically funny that I can't help but laugh. Like, she's obviously upset and in pain, but she's so funny. Even though this is like very crazy behavior, it's actually much calmer than previously she would have been. I think she would have blown up at that dinner table previously, and I think she would have immediately next day blown up. Like, but I do think she's taking a different approach. It's not always correct or the best, but it's still better. So I do think this intensive therapy is helping her. One thing I've really picked up on this trip is how foreign Jamaican culture, Caribbean culture seems to the Shaw fam. And it's so wild to me as someone who lives in the UK, because, and I think most of us know in the UK, like, we're so heavily influenced by Caribbean culture, by Jamaican culture, that like it's so everyday. I mean, to most of actually, let's just say I've only grown up in cities, so maybe it's not as familiar to maybe people who don't live in big cities. I don't know, but yeah, it just seems like it's not something that I'm like, oh wow, like the way they're like jerk. You say it's jerk chicken, is it jerk chicken? Oh wow, this chicken's amazing. Wow, this culture's beautiful. Like, they're having like, Nicki's bringing them sugar cane and being like, you gotta try this. And they're like, what? Like, their minds are blown. Like, this is where it comes from. Like, they're having patties being like, they're like mind blown. And I guess I only now do I realize that you take it for granted how like foreign that is to some people. But it's so, we are very lucky. We get all these wonderful, wonderful benefits of having, a heavy Jamaican and Caribbean influence. But yeah, it's just wild watching people being like about it. It's so funny to me. Nicki's accent has always been quite perplexing to me as well, because it's not very strong. And I was like, maybe she'd lost it. Like, I don't know how long she's been in the States versus how long she was in Jamaica for, but she seemed like she was there till she was 22. So I was like, how has she lost her accent so fast? But then I heard her like friends and family speak, and I was like, oh, they don't have a very strong accent either. So maybe wherever she grew up, it's just like a different accent. It's not as strong. I don't know. I'd be very curious if anyone can tell me why specifically that is, or if they know anything about the area she grew up in or something, or maybe they went to like an American school or something. I don't know. Oh, before I get carried away, the little like kind of sit down that Ange and Lauren have. Um, I'm glad Lauren didn't rise to an argument. I do think she did listen. I'm always going to give credit where credit's due. I'm glad that she didn't take it there and she kind of just diffused it. Definitely the right approach, but there's still, even then, an air of arrogance and patronization that I just really struggle with. The way Mike and Lauren keep comparing her, specifically this season, to a toddler, do not patronize her in that way. Specifically in this example, because she did have grounds to be upset. You guys treated her with a double standard, and she, unfortunately, she's never able to articulate herself, or like it's hard for her to explain these things, because if she had, I think others as well would have been like, well, actually, that's right. I don't know. She's got something there. Because, you know, not everybody remembers these things, especially if you weren't directly involved. You might not remember these things. But it just frustrates me, because I think they know that. I think they know she struggles. And I think they use that kind of inability to articulate herself against her in a lot of ways. So that is very frustrating. But then, of course, Ange, she feels better after that, and we get into the tampon string situation. Only Ange, right? Of course, only her. I will say that, like, when Paulie just being so blunt, being like, your period string is out, crazy. But Jenny saying to cut the string. Who's cutting the string? Show of hands if you've ever cut the string. I'm not sure about cutting the string as a best practice. Let's just say that. I don't think that would be highly recommended. I think it's a certain length for a reason. Retrieval reasons. But yeah. So, and you know, she hadn't worn one in a while. You know, give her a break. But oh my God, of course it would be her. Of course it would. Vinny, this vacation was just real cringe. But then there was just, you know, that big fun moment where everyone was drinking and it felt like, oh geez, that was brilliant. But yeah, I know he's probably not taking it seriously, and it is obviously a show, so, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. But I see why he might be single. Like, the way he was with Rochelle was like really embarrassing. Like, why does he act this way around girls? It's so weird. He's such a, like, he acts so cool and aloof all the time, and then he gets around a girl and it's like he's like basically like, hey, knock knock. Like, it's a strange situation. His Raya profile is crazy to me. Like, I'm looking for someone who wants to be a wife and a mother. Is there anything else you're looking for? Any other qualities that she might want to have? Any shared interests, morals? I know he's a Trumper, but Jesus Christ, like, something. That can't be the only thing you're looking for, bud. But, you know, compared to Vinny 2.0's Raya profile, which they brought up, that it made me gag. It made me gag. What was the line? It was like, I think I've wrote it down. Be a legit fairy tale come true. Dead ass, so you know I'm for real. What does that even mean? What does that even fucking mean? This guy has a master's. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, yeah, wow. But when Vinny met that girl, did it not feel, guys, did it not feel like OG again? Like, that brief moment where Vinny found a girl. No one else could do anything, but everyone was drinking. Paulie was drinking. Vinny was drinking. And, like, people were just having fun, like, back in the day. It felt so good. It was like a glimmer of the past. Vinny's, like, hooking up on screen. I was like, yes! Like, it was so... I just wish it could be that way. I do. But, you know, things have changed. But yeah, that was... Do you feel like that girl wanted to kiss him? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I don't think she didn't like him or anything. I think she liked him, but I don't know. I feel like there was mounting pressure to kiss him at the end, so she did. Oh, and that is just as Dina and Chris came in. I love Chris so much, man. Buckner for life, baby. They're like so fun. They make everything so fun. My favorite Chris moment of this season so far was where I think they just got in there and they were going back to the room or something. And he's like, "Ooh, you can see into people's rooms. Let's see if people are banging in there." To which Dina looks disgusted and says, "My husband is a pervert." Oh, Dina stood up for pigeons. I can't remember. I've just got a note about it. I don't know what was happening. Maybe they were being mean to pigeons, but she stood up for them. And I love her for that. I love Dina so much. And this just proved why she is the real one. Like, yeah, it's not their fault. We bred them as pets and then we abandoned them. I can't think about pigeons, man. Like, it makes me so sad. We just, like, we bred them for a purpose. We kept them as pets. They were part of the workforce and then we abandoned them and now we treat them like vermin, like rats. And they're like so sweet. They're actually so sweet. Yes, I'm deathly afraid of birds. And no, please do not come near me. But I wish no ill will on them. They're just like abandoned and on the streets. Like imagine if we all just like abandoned our cats and dogs one day. Like we just were like, we're done with you guys. And they were just on the street and they were all so sad. Oh, I'm going to cry. Like that actually, like it kills me. I can't think about it. But thank you, Dina. Thank you for standing up for the pigeons. Just looking at my notes. Jamaica was the vacation that finally turned me against Nino. Like I know he's a creep. I know he's gross. But he's like, it's like him and Paula, they're just part of the show. Their family at this point, whatever. I can't. But this episode just really grossed me out. He was like, it's like, he didn't need to be there. The God bless America stuff, enough. Like, dude, read the room. I know they're Trumpers, but come on, like, stop. And he's like scaring the women and children. He's like going up to random women and kids on the beach and be like, ugh. Like, just stop it. Stop. He doesn't need to be everywhere. And he's like, he's too much now. And the dye job though, we'll say it was giving. Angelina saying Nino has a level head when it comes to relationships. Craziest thing she's ever said. Genuinely the craziest thing she's ever said, hands down. What do you mean he has a level head at all, period? But when it comes to relationships, this man is like thrice divorced and kind of a dog, as we all know. So hey, taking advice from him is like the worst thing you could do, but they seem to have a bond. What can I say? And like talking about the breakup, I've noticed this. She talks about the breakup, but this is like whenever she talks about any breakup she's had, she's always like, it's been hard doing everything in my house by myself. Oh, it's so hard to be by myself, to do everything by myself in the house. What are you doing with... I understand that there's a difference and there's a, things are divided up in the household and when somebody goes, it's a bit... But it's like she relies on them to keep the house in order, to do the housework. Like what she needs is a maid or a PA, housekeeping service, something like that. Like, because every guy she gets with, she just turns them into like a groundskeeper or something. I think that's what she needs. I don't think she needs a partner. I think she needs help, professional help, services. The award show was cute. I'm glad they kept it like a family affair. It was good to see everyone's family, like Sammy saying hello to Ron's parents. That was really cute. That was a nice moment. Ange came with her music producer, which is like very sad. There was like no other member of family. I just really hope this therapy helps her like mend some of her close relationships, because she can't keep having a new bestie every 24 minutes and then like, hanging out with people she works with. It's just... it's making me sad. But also, I don't know if this is actually ever gonna. I don't know how much it's helping because I think she's with 2.0 again, isn't she? So we shall see. Can't wait for the second. Can't wait for the second half to come out. I hate that they leave such a gap in between the two. I really don't understand why they do it. Honestly, though, like, might watch the OG seasons in between that time. So who knows? But yeah, I don't know how I'm going to survive with like no Jersey Shore content for about basically a year. Why is their filming schedule so strange? Like, we're always like a year out from when it actually airs. Like, everything's out of date by the time it airs. There's a massive gap between, like, they split the season in two. Why do they feel like just film like 3 to 4 trips? If it needs to be trips that you need to film on, then do 3 to 4 trips a year, film that. Like one per quarter. You know, what is a week out of Q2? You know, what is a week out of Q2? Less than a week. It doesn't need to be, long. But I just want a more regular schedule because I hate these gaps because then, the sickness in my brain makes me watch the OG seasons again, which, I love to do, but it's not healthy. I would like new content at a regular pace, you know? So please look into that if you are listening. Please feed the beast. We're all desperate. Feed the goddamn beast. And also come to London, please. Oh my God. There has to be a London trip. I'm not going to ask for Birmingham. I know that would be crazy. But London, please. Please. Well, that brings us to our conclusion. Thank you so much for listening to Bits and Bobs once again. Apologies for the break. I know that nobody cares, but, it matters to me. Next episode, I feel, will be more fun. Also, I don't know what I'm talking about. Are any of them fun? Does anyone care? But yeah, it's coming up to autumn or spooky season or whatever, whether you're a Christian or a Satanist, it's a great season for both. That means it's officially Twilight season, which is great because as one door closes, aka Jersey Shore, another one opens, and they are the two loves of my life, the two constants. So we're entering our Twilight era from next episode. I think I'm going to get the opportunity to watch them with someone who's never watched them this year, which I actually don't think I've ever done. So this is really exciting for me. But yeah, God, I love this time of year. I love wrapping up. I love layers. I love a chill in the air. I love a crisp leaf. I love earth tones. I did just say I was going to leave, so I am going to do that before I get carried away. But thank you so much for listening, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.